welcome back to Musical Journeys, episode 5. Today in the Shoals with Mr. James Leblanc.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. It's good to see you again.
Good to see you too, brother.
I always love hanging out with you, man.
Right on, man. Same here.
James was a staff writer at Fame as well, like Angela, and he is a massive hit songwriter. Had hits with Rascal Flatts, Gary Allen, Martina McBride, Brian White, and most notably, Travis Tritt's hit Modern Day Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah, man.
And touring guitarist for Jamie ONeill
Mm-hmm.
back in the 90s,
Early 2000s.
Yeah, 2000s.
Yeah.
So, but what I want to do is go back to the beginning to 4885.
Okay.
One of the titles of one of his songs off his new album, Nature of the Beast. And you guys need to go on to iTunes and download it. It was just released on June 16th. Sign up for his newsletter too, so that you can find out when he's playing near you and go see him.
Yeah, man.
And so let's talk about 4885 and the beginning. When you started, what was the first musical inspiration you had? What led you to where you are today?
Yeah, man. My mom and them tell me that I used to sing Country Roads when I was 2 or 3 years old, that old John Denver song.
Country Roads, huh?
So yeah, I guess I don't even remember that. So I must have liked that. That's before I could really remember. But my first memories were of my dad playing guitar around the house and my mom and him singing songs around the house and stuff like that. He played an old late 60s model Gibson gut string guitar.
Okay.
And so as soon as my fingers got long enough, I reckon I was about 7 years old, I started picking. And I just played everything he played. And he had really, what I consider really good taste in music. He liked Jones and Haggard and Hank Jr. and Hank Sr. and Alabama and stuff like that. And then he liked folk rock like Crosby, Stills and Nash and Neil Young and Linda Ronstadt and stuff like that. And so the Eagles was a huge deal around our house, and he really loved the Beatles and stuff. And so I just started learning how to play all these songs. Of course, had to start learning how to play first. So
How old were you when you first
7.
started? Wow.
When I got serious.
Wow.
Yeah, 7.
God.
Yeah. And it was cool learning on that classical guitar because the neck is wider. And so for years, I didn't have my own guitar. I just played his guitar. And so that was pretty neat. Little fingers, wide neck. So that helped me out when my fingers started getting longer and I went to a littler neck. It became a lot easier to play.
I got you.
Yeah, it was pretty neat.
That's cool. Cool. So you just said the Eagles and a lot of other, but there were artists that you particularly gravitated towards that got you really excited.
Everything I just said.
Okay.
Heck yeah, dude. That was all, man. That was the radio.
And this is before you're 10 years old.
Late 70s.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, man. 7, 8, 9, and then 10. I hit 10 in the latter part of 1980. So yeah.
So bands. Where was your first band? And
yeah.
when you were playing with other people?
I went down to Shreveport and did my CD release party this past weekend, but the drummer and the other guitar player in the band we played with in 6th grade was there. It was wild it was really wild seeing them out in the crowd. And so we played our 6th grade graduation with a drummer and 2 guitars, and nobody played bass yet. Nobody wanted to play bass in 6th grade.
Right.
But yeah. I couldn't remember what our name was, and they said our name was Platinum. They reminded me this past weekend, and we played Sweet Home Alabama, The Sounds of Silence, and a blues song. I can remember the blues song.
Wow.
So we graduated, yeah, so whatever year that, I don't know what year that was, but we graduated 79 or 80 or something like that.
Okay.
However old you are in 6th grade.
Yeah.
So that's when the first band started, and then moved on into junior high or whatever, and
More
just,
bands.
I've been in bands.
Going on
Yeah, been in bands ever since, man. Still am.
Yeah, you are. So you're. I guess a lot of people would want to know your path to becoming a songwriter. How do you go from a guy in a band to a hit songwriter?
I mean, I started writing songs shortly after I started playing guitar.
Okay.
And it was just natural. I don't remember ever thinking to myself anything about anything.
Right.
I mean, man, there was a guitar at the house, and I just picked it up and started learning how to play. And I started learning how to read and write, and I gravitated naturally towards writing poems and trying to put them to music. So I've been doing it. This year it'd be 40 years, and it's a long way from that to writing a hit.
Yeah, right.
A lot of songs, a lot of clunkers.
Right.
A whole lot of clunkers.
Was it they always say you have to write so many songs to have a
sure.
to have a good one?
Yeah, lots and lots of research. You know, when I listen to a song that really moves me, I really study hard everything that you could possibly study about a song, from the melody to the phrasing of the words to the hi-hat to the kick drum. I mean, you know, I like to know what is it about this that's making me feel like this. Mm-hmm. Like in the early 80s, 83, 84, I remember I'm on Fire, Bruce Springsteen. It was on the Born to Run record, and that was the first time I'd ever spent any of my own money on a 45 record. And I went and I got that 45 record because I saw that song, I saw the music video on MTV, and man, I loved it a lot, and I really wore that out. You know, and there's not much on that record, and it's a very short song. Mm-hmm. It's like 2 minutes and 35 seconds, maybe 2:45, and there's not much on it, man. There's a hat and a side stick and an electric guitar doing a real syncopated thing, and a synthesizer and him. Mm-hmm. No background, so it was just amazing, and I listened to that. You know, I'm talking 100, 200 times. You know,
right. So you're studying that.
Absolutely,
you're trying
man.
to take in what that is, and
I ain't lying, man. Every single thing. Yeah,
right.
I'm definitely a student.
Yeah,
of music.
So you just really focused on that, and then how do you get to fame? And first of all, you're in Shreveport, so
I was.
How do you get to here?
Well, we went to Texas first. We went to Austin. Me and my buddy Jimmy Nutt, and a bass player I was with named Robbie Emerson, and a drummer I was with named Kevin Cupp. And we had worn out Shreveport. We'd done all we could do. I mean, I was playing 14, 15, 16 gigs a week, and just really wearing it out. And we had cut a record, and there at a local studio, and we'd done all we could really do. I mean, it was, you know, there was nothing left to do. There's no real music industry in that town,
right,
to speak of. And so we relocated to Austin, Texas in the early 90s, and we stayed there a couple of years, writing, playing, singing, trying to get some people to pay attention. And so we got looked at by a few people and passed on by a few different music companies and stuff like that. So then I came back to Shreveport to regroup at the end of 93, the beginning of 94. And I was playing around with some people. And I'd known this guy named Dave Hoffpower, and he'd moved on to Arkansas, and he'd gotten with a band, and that band that he was with got a record deal. They were called Ho Hum. And a couple of guys at Ho Hum were really big Muscle Shoals fans and real big Fame fans, mm-hmm. Fame Studios fans. And so they came over in 95 and made a record, and Dave, the drummer, hit it off with Rodney Hall, which was Rick's son. Right. And they spent time together and hanging out and whatnot while they were cutting that record, which probably took them 2 or 3 weeks. And during that time, you know, Dave was telling Rodney about me, and I was just down in Shreveport after I got back from Texas, spending every day in the daytime writing songs and every night playing gigs. And I had decided that I really wanted to even get more serious about writing songs, and so it became a lot less inspiration and a lot more perspiration, because I would just sit every day right. with a pen, with a paper, and with a guitar, right. determined and committed to putting something down. Mm-hmm. And so I did, and they weren't all good. Maybe none of them were. But every day I wrote songs, and every night I played gigs. And that went on 94, 95, 96, until the very end of 97. And I signed a publishing contract, and a production contract with Fame and Rick Hall in December 97.
So you just cranked it out until you...
I did, man. I was 60, 70 songs that I had recorded. And I would send them to Fame in like 15 at a time. Wow. And, you know, and that just lets somebody know that you're working. I just let somebody know that you're working, right. and you're not the stereotypical musician that sleeps till 1 and gets out of bed, eats breakfast. You know, none of that kind of stuff. I was waking up and getting busy.
So you came up here, you moved.
Yeah, at first I started taking quarterly trips to Nashville, starting in '94 with my little CDs and my little songs. So every quarter I'd go up to Nashville, and I had a friend of mine named Hassel Tickle that I met that was a touring musician, a touring keyboard player, and he would take me around Music Row and introduce me to everybody. And so that was the no years. Whenever everywhere
no
you,
years.
Everywhere you go, no
years.
No, I don't hear anything. No, that ain't it. No, thanks anyway. Keep going. Good luck. And so, and all the while, my buddy Dave was over here in '95, and so, there was a 2+ years in between, when Fame first heard of me, when we finally, did our contracts together. So that was all just going up to Nashville all the time, and so I finally signed the deal with Fame and them in late '97, and I continued to live in Shreveport, Louisiana, because I got this really cool casino gig that was easy money, just sitting on a stool playing music for 4 hours a night. And so it was hard to give that up. But I didn't have to give that up, because I could do a week of that and then do a week over here writing songs, and a week and a week and a week. And that went on 98 and 99 in the year 2000. Wow. But I started getting cuts in the spring of 99. And so when I started getting cuts, I started thinking that it might work out, something that I might be able to work this into a career. And so I bit the bullet and relocated in January of '01, and I've been here ever since.
Okay, so you came here to Muscle Shoals because your deal was here.
Yeah, man.
And then, the hits started to come, or the cuts started to come.
Yeah.
What was that like?
It was wild, man. I got 3 cuts in March of 1999, and it was really amazing. So I wrote the whole year of '98, and then in March of '99, I started getting cuts. So 15 months, basically, into my publishing deal, I started getting cuts, and that seems real miraculous to me now, looking back on it, because there's so much competition up there and so many great songwriters. So many great songwriters just there at Fame, much less EMI, Sony Tree, Universal, RC. I mean, all over town there's, great songwriters writing great songs 5 days a week, all year long. Anyway,
yeah.
So it seems miraculous to me now, but yeah, I got on a roll as a songwriter. I got 3 cuts in March of '99, and one of those cuts was Martina McBride. That was my first platinum record, because her record came out and immediately sold 1 million copies within a month or two. So I had my first platinum record.
What song was that? I forgot.
It's called "Make Me Believe."
Okay, yeah.
It's a cut. It was a pretty cool cut.
Great song.
And then that 2000, same thing kept happening, and all the while I was still down there playing the casino and coming back and forth. But then I had enough success by then to know that I could do this thing over here, and I loved it over here, and I still love it over here.
Right.
So I relocated.
Cool.
Yeah, man.
So that's awesome. So then you had your big one with the Travis Tritt song too.
Yeah, the beginning of 2002.
Modern Day Bonnie and Clyde. And what was that like?
That was really awesome,
It was really good.
It was really great. It was really fun. It was the last single off the Down the Road I Go record, and they had done 3 singles. And they weren't really going to do another single. And Gary Falcon was Travis Tritt's manager, and I heard about this story later on, but I later on came to find out that Gary Falcon went to the label and he said, if I could get Billy Bob Thornton to act in the video, would y'all put Bonnie and Clyde out as a single? And they said, yeah, because they thought it was a long shot, because Billy Bob had never acted in a video that wasn't his own, and he still hadn't to this day. That was the only one.
Right.
So somehow or another, Travis Tritt's manager, Gary Falcon, got Billy Bob to act in the video. And so that's pretty much how that got released as a single, which is neat. And thank you.
I've watched that video.
Thanks, Gary Falcon.
That's pretty cool.
Don't even know you, man. Thank you, brother. And it went top 10. It went to number 8, and it was January of '02 till probably April or May of '02. It ran on the radio, and it was amazing.
So then you end up with Jamie ONeill, and that's right after this.
Yeah, actually, I got with her in the spring of '01, right after I moved here.
Okay.
Yeah, my buddy that I was telling you about that played bass years and years before, got the gig with Jamie ONeill, and they were looking for a guitar player. And so I wanted to do it. I wanted to feel what it was like to be, out on the road as a touring musician on a bus and flying all over the world and whatnot. And so I was with Jamie from the spring of '01 to the fall of '04.
And so how was it?
It was awesome, man. It was really great. I loved it, Just getting on a big Prevost bus. You catch a bus, at midnight, and you go and you wake up somewhere new. We went all over the place. We toured out west. And first thing we did was a thing called the Girls Night Out Tour. It was a summer tour in the summer of '01. It was Reba McEntire, Sarah Evans, Martina McBride, Carolyn Dawn Johnson, and Jamie.
Right.
And Reba was the headliner. And so we did that all summer of '01. And it was basketball arenas all over the country.
Wow.
And it was really cool. I took a shower, same place Michael Jordan took his showers in the Chicago Bulls locker room and whatnot, and Staples Center in LA. So I'm showering where all these giant basketball players shower and whatnot. It was pretty cool, and it was real neat for me, man. It was I'd get up in the morning and watch them put the whole thing together. I mean, there's nothing in there, so you have to bring everything in there. The stage has to be built. Every little wire has to be run. Everything, all the lights, everything has to be hung from the ceiling. Every speaker, and I would kind of get up in the nosebleed section and just sort of watch it all go down, because there's a lot of time to kill on the road.
Right.
Yeah, we played 15 minutes a night.
Oh God. The rest of the time you're hanging.
We played 23 hours and 45 minutes. There was nothing to do. And for 15 minutes we played. That was enough time to squeeze out like 5 songs.
Wow, crazy.
So we played 15 minutes a night. But it was a great opportunity for Jamie, as a new artist, to get in front of
all those people.
Tons of people, and it was really great.
Ideal audience for her. Yeah,
but yeah, man, by the time you got your first sweat bead going there, it was time to go.
It's time to go. Oh, time to go.
So yeah, that was awesome.
So any other super unique things? This is something I talked to Angela about, but the LP Field thing and.
Yeah, I played with her at LP Field. That was awesome, man. That was probably 10,000 people there.
Right.
That was great.
Yeah. Anything else like that with Jamie that you?
Sure, man. I mean,
that just blew you away.
You
can't get out of your head.
I'll tell you what, man. I was amazed at how nice and classy Reba McEntire was, and I don't know why I shouldn't have been. But I just didn't know her. You don't know anybody. But she threw a couple of different parties for the entire crew, and I mean, we're talking, I don't even know, probably 10, 18 wheelers. I don't know how many, buses. Probably 10 tour buses, because you're carrying crew, you're carrying everything.
Right.
And so she threw several different parties. One was a margarita party with Mexican food one night somewhere. And I mean, she walked around. There was a couple of 100 people in the room that were all working on this tour. And I watched her. She walked around and introduced herself to everybody.
Wow.
And told them that she hoped they were having a good experience out. And she did that 2 or 3 different times. So that was amazing.
Yeah. Cool.
I got to write a song with Travis Tritt on the follow-up record to Down the Road I Go that had Bonnie and Clyde on it. He invited a bunch of people to a little camping kind of a thing not too far from his house over there in Georgia.
Right.
And so we all went over there and we had like a songwriting camp, and he wrote with everybody. Wow. And I was still fairly new. I mean, there was a bunch of veteran songwriters, but I mean, I still considered myself fairly new, and that would have been like the end of '02 or the beginning of '03, and that was cool. So I got to write a song with him, and he was extremely talented. And he cut it on the follow-up record. It didn't do real well, but he cut it on the follow-up record. And I've had a lot of experiences like that. Man, getting to sit down and write songs with really incredible songwriters is awesome, man. It's just amazing. I mean, all of them, they're so good.
Anybody that sticks out that you just...
Man, a lot of them, man. Russell Smith, he was one of the founding members of the Amazing Rhythm Aces. He wrote Third Rate Romance, Low Rent Rendezvous, and several other songs that were big hits. Just getting to sit down with him, and I mean, he just spits out great lines. And I just take dictation and write down what they say. That's all I have to do. Just write down what they say. And I get half the credit for the song. Just by being there.
Just by being
and yeah, man, so there's that. Walt Aldridge, he's a local legendary songwriter.
Right.
Just getting to be in the room with him. Brad Chrysler's another friend of mine. He's had multiple hits. Just getting to be in the room with these people. Dave Loggins is a guy I wrote some songs with. He had a hit called "Please Come to Boston" back in the '70s, and as an artist, and just sit down with him. I've been writing with Leslie Satcher over the last few years. She wrote "Troubadour" for George Strait, and "When God-Fearing Women Get the Blues" for Martina McBride. And the experience of getting to sit down with incredible songwriters is awesome. It never gets old. Wow. It's so wild, man. You know, you can throw them an idea, give them a concept, give them an idea, and then give them a minute or two, and man, they can rip right into it, man. They can get on point and really drive a message home. It's amazing because you got 3.5 minutes to do a little mini novel,
right?
Something an author can take 500 pages to do.
Right.
You got 3.5 minutes, and you need to do something that makes some sense. Or try to make it make sense, or somehow catch people. You know, you don't have, people tend to have short attention spans, so you gotta hook them. That's what a hook is in a song.
Right.
That's what a hook is in a movie. You know, if a movie's an hour and a half, you got 30 minutes to get them engrossed in the movie, and then the middle, and then the climax or whatever. So you break a song down into, minute and 10-second segments. You really got to get them pretty quick. So the whole mechanics and the craftsmanship of songwriting is something that I love and that I love to study, and I love to watch these people I get to sit in rooms with. So that just continues to amaze me. Mm-hmm. I got to play the Ryman with my son. He did a stint opening for a guy named George Ezra, who had a big international hit a year or two ago. I think the song's called Budapest.
Right.
And so I got to play the Ryman, playing bass with my son. That was a huge moment. It was an incredible experience because the room is built for sound. Everything is designed for an incredible audio experience, and it sounded amazing just standing on stage. And so that was a heck of a moment. My son's a recording artist and a songwriter and a guitar player.
Dylan LeBlanc.
Look
him up.
He's got 3 records out. One of my favorite people.
And like yourself, was hailed by Rolling Stone as
a
one to watch.
That's right.
That was just this week or last week, right?
Yeah, man, that was a neat thing. I never made it to Rolling Stone before. Hey, I haven't made it to the cover yet, but I'm working on it.
You keep working on it. So let's talk about Nature of the Beast.
Yeah, man, I got ready to. I don't know. I didn't get ready. Let me back up for a minute. Jimmy won a Grammy. Jimmy Nutt, my buddy, won a Grammy for engineering the Muscle Shoals sessions, which was a Steel Drivers record. So he won a Grammy for engineering that best bluegrass record or whatever. And so I called him and congratulated him and talked to him a little bit, and then he was like, yeah, man, we need to start on you next. And that was like February of 16, I can't remember, 16, right. I think. And so we started. I started considering it. Before that, I really didn't want to consider it, or I wasn't considering it seriously because I was trying to be a staff songwriter at BMG. I did a 4-year deal with BMG.
Right.
And so I wanted to give my full attention to that, not be distracted, and try to get some cuts. Right. With some, like I've always been trying to do. And so, man, I worked it really hard. I wrote a lot of songs, and it was sort of frustrating because people weren't digging them. Not really. In the 4 years I was with BMG, I don't have a whole lot to talk about. The one thing I got out of the deal was I'm 99% sure I'm going to be on the next Tim McGraw Faith Hill record. And so that's cool. That's something, I suppose.
Right.
But anyway.
You never know, Mike.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool to be on there.
Uh-huh.
But I was hoping to have a little more than that in 4 years at BMG, and I'm sure they were hoping that I would have a little more than that.
Right.
But anyway, so, I've got some other friends that are veteran songwriters that are doing other stuff. The times have changed, the market's changed, things change as time goes by. And so my buddy Walt, he's a professor over at UNA, and my buddy Brad restores little miniature portraits from the 18th century and then sells them for a huge profit. So that's neat, but I don't know how to do it.
When you say they're doing other stuff, you really mean they're doing
other stuff. So I don't know how to do that, and I'm not a professor, and I don't know how to restore. There's 3 things I know how to do: write, play, and sing, and that is all I know how to do.
Yeah.
So I started thinking, well,
what
do I do now? And
work.
so I thought, man, maybe I could make a record and start playing some gigs. And so that's how Nature of the Beast started. And the song Nature of the Beast is a song I just sat down with to write, one day during my BMG time with Travis Meadows and Matt Warren. And that turned out to be an incredible day, incredible song. Travis Meadows is one of my new heroes, man.
I love that song. I saw it live, and
yeah,
it's like, wow.
I love it too.
Yeah, it's just
and Travis is amazing. Yeah, Travis is an amazing artist. I recommend him to anybody.
Cool. So let's talk about, the album was released June 16th.
Yeah.
Which was my birthday, by the way.
Happy birthday. Happy belated birthday.
Belated birthday. So anyway, your album's out. I know you want to get some people on the newsletter. We were just doing that yesterday. The Rolling Stone thing has come out. Things are starting to ramp up.
Yeah, man, yeah.
So how are you feeling so far about it?
Good.
Yeah.
It's great.
Doing those record release parties.
Yes, I'm done with those.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for a booking agent.
Yeah.
And I will find one. It might take a minute, but I will get one. And when that happens, man, I'm going to tell them.
Put me out there.
Let's go.
Let's go to work.
Yep, let's go. I've been a hard worker.
Yeah.
And I'm not afraid of hard work. Yeah. So I want to go build something. I want to go build a brand. Yeah. I want to go build a fan base. One night, one fan, one gig at a time.
Yeah.
That's how it's done.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking forward to it. I've got some great people willing to go with me.
Yeah.
And go out and do it. And so
You're an engineer.
I'm real pumped about it, man.
Your buddy from a long time playing bass.
That's right. And man, I went and did a session earlier today and got paid for singing some songs. And last week I went and played a session and got paid for doing a session playing guitar. And I got 3 gigs this week. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like, and I write, and they pay me to write songs. It's I can't complain. I get to do what I love on every day. And it's really awesome.
You and me are both lucky guys.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you do too.
Yeah, that's right.
That's
the best thing ever when you can do what you love.
That's right.
So let me ask you these last 4 questions. The first one is, see if you can get this one.
I don't know.
Tell me in one word, describe in one word your feelings about music.
Yeah. That's a tough question. Is awe-inspiring one word or 2?
I'll do.
Awe-inspiring.
There you go. Awe-inspiring. Why not?
How about that?
That sounds good to me.
Okay.
Awe-inspiring.
There you go.
Yeah.
You can cut all that silence out.
That was great, man. I'm just shopping. State of the music business.
I think it's vibrant.
Yeah.
It's alive and well,
Feeling
man.
positive?
It's evolving.
Yeah.
Before there was a whole lot of album sales, everybody bought 45s back in the day.
Yeah.
My mom and dad were members of record clubs where you could get 12 records for a penny, as long as you agreed to get a few more at full price.
Right.
So, man, they've been giving music away forever.
True.
So that ain't nothing new. And record sales have declined steadily over the years, but that's because of the dawning of the digital age. And so now you can make a great recording in your bedroom. And that's okay, man. That's the natural evolution of things and the way things move forward and whatnot. But the core of it is the same as it ever was. You're trying to move people in whatever way
Right.
You know, when I listen to Rage Against the Machine, I want to drive 95 on the interstate. And when I listen to something else, it might make me want to cry and go hug my puppy. So that's what it's all about.
Right.
So that's still happening. And so I think it's alive and well and vibrant. Man, you got a lot going on out there, and I dig it. I love music.
So you're feeling good about it?
Sure, absolutely.
So advice to young musicians and writers, what's your advice?
Work it. Work. It's a dirty 4-letter word to some people. It's that dirty word to some people. You think you're going to be able to fall off the turnip truck in front of Capitol Records out in L.A. and they're going to roll out the red carpet for you and sign you to the record deal, or show up on American Idol and sing a few songs and get a record deal. And it's usually a 20-year overnight success story has been my experience.
Right.
Most of what I've ever seen.
Right.
In my time looking around and thinking about it. So you got to work. You got to wake up every day and try to do something to get yourself a little further down the road. That's what I've been doing. That's what I still do. That's what I did this morning.
Right.
And that's what I did 25 years ago when I woke up in the morning. Right. Driven, to try to make something out of it. It's possible to have a vibrant career and a living and a life and put food on your table for your family, playing music, writing music, singing music. And, people need to know that,
You can do anything you want to do.
That's right, man.
But you got to work.
You got to work it. You got to work it like a job.
All right.
You got to, most people spend roughly 40 hours a week doing something. So spend 40 hours writing, playing, and singing, and see how fast you get better.
You're right about that. Now, you're going back to the record. When you write songs, what's your process? I mean, you said you study.
It's morphed.